This is the Dallas Morning News. It's Wednesday, February 18th. Cloudy but warm today with a high of 77. The clouds will clear out this evening, and it will become a little windy later on tonight. That breeze will usher in some cooler temps tomorrow evening and into the weekend. Here are today's headlines. According to federal records, a private school in North Dallas received checks totaling more than $28,000 from a bank account controlled by Jeffrey Epstein. The Texas Torah Institute, a Jewish school for boys, received 2 checks in 2008 and 1 in 2009. The first 2 checks were written after lawsuits from 2 girls alleging abuse had been made public, and while Epstein was in prison after pleading guilty to solicitation. A Dallas Morning News reporter spoke with a woman at the school's office last week and provided copies of the checks. The news also reached out by phone and email to inquire about the payments. Tuesday afternoon, Rabbi Eliyahu Kaufman told the news in an email that the payments were for tuition, writing, "Until the recent release by the Justice Department of over 3 million documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, Texas Torah Institute was unaware of any potential connection with Epstein." The checks are contained in the notorious Epstein files, a vast trove of documents recently released by the U.S. Department of Justice. Just weeks before the first check was written, Epstein was required to register as a sex offender and had pleaded guilty in Florida to 2 charges of solicitation of prostitution, one with a minor. In 2019, he was charged with sex trafficking of minors and accused of abusing dozens of underage girls. He died in jail that year while awaiting trial. His death ruled a suicide. The files contained other checks and electronic fund transfers to a number of schools, often documented as tuition payments for children of Epstein's employees. In other news, Republican controller candidate Don Huffines is scrambling to contain fallout from revelations that his family bought a New Mexico ranch once owned by sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Santa Fe, New Mexican first reported on Friday that a limited liability company tied to Huffines' family purchased the 10,000-acre Zorro Ranch in 2023, 4 years after Epstein died in a New York jail cell. The disclosure surfaced just days before voting began in the March 3rd Republican primary among Huffines and 2 other major candidates, Acting Controller Kelly Hancock and Railroad Commissioner Christy Craddock. Huffines, a former Dallas state senator, accused his opponents of weaponizing the timing. The New Mexico House of Representatives created a committee to investigate whether any criminal activity occurred on the property, about 30 miles from Santa Fe. In his social media post on Monday, Huffines said that when his family purchased the ranch, the proceeds would go to Epstein's victims and that he has maintained an open line of communication with local authorities. Next up, late-night host Stephen Colbert said CBS blocked an interview with James Talarico, who is running for the U.S. Senate in Texas, preemptively caving to pressure from the FCC. Speaking Monday night, Colbert criticized the network's lawyers, who he said told the show's staff in no uncertain terms that the interview could not air. He was also told not to discuss the matter on The Late Show. Colbert went on to explain the FCC's equal time guidance change, which requires broadcast networks provide opposing political candidates equivalent airtime. News interviews and talk shows were long considered exempt, he said, joking, "How else were voters supposed to know back in '92 that Bill Clinton sucked at saxophone?" In January, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr threatened to drop the exemption because some are motivated by purely partisan political purposes. CBS said in a statement that it did not prohibit the show from broadcasting the interview, but that the decision followed legal guidance from the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for 2 other candidates. A spokesperson for the FCC did not immediately respond to an email seeking comment. And the Olympic struggles continued for Plano's Amber Glenn as she skated to a disappointing 13th position after the short program in the women's singles figure skating competition at the Milano Cortina Olympics. She landed the difficult triple axel to open her program, but faltered on a triple loop down the stretch, scoring 0 points on the element. She knew the mistake had cost her and skated off the ice with tears in her eyes. Glenn entered the Olympics with gold medal hopes in the singles event after skating a personal best en route to winning her third consecutive U.S. title in January. Her final score of 67.39 points will make it difficult for her to move into medal contention. Thanks for listening. For more on today's stories and the latest breaking news, visit dallasnews.com. And don't forget to check out the Dallas Morning News Rewards program for our virtual events. For more info on upcoming events, please visit rewards.dallasnews.com. Enjoy your day, and I'll be back tomorrow with more from the Dallas Morning News.